Why the Sea is Salt is a popular folk tale with origins in Norway that explains a natural phenomenon through a captivating narrative of magic and greed. One collected by Peter Christen Asbjørnsen and Jørgen Moe, this story has been shared across various cultures, each with its own unique flavor, yet all centering around a magical object with the power to produce anything desired. The Norwegian narrative, which is the most well-known version of the tale, begins with two brothers, one rich and the other poor. 2-3 on the eve of a holiday, the poor brother, with no food to feed his family, is compelled to ask his wealthy yet unkind brother for help. The rich brother offers him a leg of mutton, but with a cruel condition: the poor brother must go to a place called the Dead Men's Hall, one driven by desperation and the need to provide for his loved ones. The poor man agrees to the grim bargain and sets off on his journey. On his journey, he encounters an old man who advises him on how to deal with the inhabitants of the eerie hall. He is told to sell the mutton, but only in exchange for a magical hand mill that lies behind the door. Following this sage advice, the poor man successfully navigates the challenges of the hall, acquires the mill, and learns the secret to operating it from the old man. Returning home, the poor man and his wife are overjoyed to discover the mill can grind out anything they wish for, from food and clothing to light and ale. Their newfound prosperity, however, attracts the attention of the envious rich brother who, seeing the sudden change in fortune, eventually coaxes the secret of the magical mill from him. The rich brother, consumed by greed, persuades the poor brother to sell him the mill. In his haste to possess the magical object and create his own endless wealth. The rich brother takes the mill without learning the magic words to make it stop grinding. 2-3 in some versions of the story, his first command is for the mill to produce herrings and broth, which it does with alarming efficiency, quickly flooding his house and creating a chaotic scene of overflowing food. For the climax of the story, which explains the salty sea's origin, occurs when a sea captain purchases the mill from the overwhelmed rich brother. The captain takes it out to sea, intending to have it grind a massive cargo of salt to sell at the next port. He commands the mill to grind salt, and it immediately begins to produce an endless stream of the white crystals. 1-5 However, just like the rich brother before him, the captain does not know the command to make it stop. 2-3-5 The boat rapidly fills with salt, becomes too heavy under the immense and ever-increasing weight, and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. 2-3-5 To this day, the magical mill continues to grind salt at the bottom of the sea, and that, as the story goes, is why the sea is salty. 2-5 While the Norwegian tale is the most famous, similar stories exist in other cultures, such as a Karelian folk tale from a region between Finland and Russia, and a Filipino story involving a giant named Angat. 2-3-6 A Korean version tells of a thief who steals a magical millstone from a king, which also ends up at the bottom of the sea producing salt. 7. In an Icelandic telling found in the Prose Edda, two giantesses named Fenja and Menja operate a magical mill called Grotti, which grinds out gold and peace until they are captured and forced to grind salt, eventually sinking the ship they are on. 8. Despite the variations across different cultures and narratives, the central themes of the story remain remarkably consistent. The dangers of unchecked greed and the serious consequences of acquiring power without the necessary wisdom to control it. The tale serves as a cautionary reminder that shortcuts to wealth, driven by envy and impatience, often lead to unforeseen and disastrous outcomes that can affect the entire world.